Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of DC Alliance Chapter 79. Man, we're almost there. We're almost hitting 100. I don't know how many of these episodes that I have been on, to be completely honest. I need to go back and listen to see how much I need to be on DC Alliance to beat everybody who has once been on DC Alliance. Talking about you, Greg. I know you listen to these. Miss you, buddy. But we have a guest today. Our fellow Ranger Alliance co-host, Walk the Multiverse co-host, a walk through the multiverse co-host. Sorry, just wanted to correct myself there. And
Also, is it really a co-host when
Who
it's
does
my
he
show?
co-host the Walk Through the Multiverse with?
well, I co-host as far as the actual network. We're
Okay.
all co-hosts of the network. That's
Give
what
me
I
that
was
one.
getting at. So
Yeah, we got
I
to talk
call
about the
everybody a
Flash. So let's
co-host.
keep on the positive here. Yeah.
I call everybody a co-host. Anyway, yes, you heard him already. Joe, welcome to DC Alliance. You've been here before,
I
but
have, although I think this is actually the first live one I've been on. I've been on the movie reviews a few different
yes,
times.
but separately from the reviews. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is the first live one, I think.
yeah, I know. It's
Yay.
actually getting really close to your bedtime. So I think we should be hurrying it up.
Again,
through here.
though, because peek behind the curtain, I'm off of work this week due to unforeseen circumstances, so I'm fine.
Until we
Currently.
see you
Until I start
catching some
yawning.
Z's
Yeah.
on live camera.
I've only seen you, and you look fine when we podcast last time to this time. So enjoy
Fair.
the break.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't. It was not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Do some Joe things on this in this little.
I
bit of
was thinking about
seclusion.
rearranging the basement again because I'm
Again?
Look,
Holy crap, dude. I could not keep up with your basement. Like,
No.
honestly, like this office is good enough, and I already have like struggles with all of my cups that Snell still like cringes with whenever
I'll say
I show a
for
picture.
everybody who doesn't know, there is all of whenever they talk about my shelves, that's my shelf of comics.
He's
Whoever's
showing off
watching the
shelf
YouTube channel, of
for
course,
the
anybody who's
90s.
listening
And
to this
asteroids over there.
audibly cannot see anything because they're
Well,
listening to the podcast
look.
feed.
Calm down.
He's live. He's exercising the live part.
Yes, yes,
Exactly.
of course, we are live on YouTube, which, by the way, reminds us that we are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with a plethora of shows and a plethora of co-hosts that including Sundays start with a slice of film with Katie. She just made an announcement that she was trying to keep up with a lot of those movies going weekly, but she has decided that she is going to be going bi-weekly with that. Myself, Chris Balga, and Katie reviewed, of course, Ghostbusters Afterlife. We will be, I think she is putting that one out there next week, and then after that she's going to be dropping Ghostbusters 2016, or it might be the other way around.
I thought it was the same day.
Is it the same day? She she's gonna,
the first two.
she will correct me in the GUA chat once she listens to this, but either way, go subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network to listen to all of her great reviews. She is currently watching Spider-Man, and she has some very, very hot takes with those movies as well. But on Mondays, of course, is World's Finest True Believers, as well as Ranger Alliance, switching bi-weekly every single week. This week was World's Finest True Believers with Nathan. They were going over, I believe, the volume 2 of the. When I say volume 2, I mean of the bigger volumes.
Year 2.
The year 2, yeah, sorry. Year 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It is in my queue. I did not get to it today, but I will be listening to it either tonight or tomorrow. Looking forward to it, guys. Stealing my content. But of course, Ranger Alliance is Mondays as well. Me and Jake have been going over the last few episodes regarding Green No More, and next week's episode is actually going to be white light. So we are finally getting to the point of the White Power Ranger. Of course, everybody loves those episodes. We'll get to it together, guys. I promise. Of course, Monday nights, like now.
I just love, especially like these are some people's favorite episodes, and this guy got the most fame from it, and I just know how much Clay just likes. It just pleases me every time.
I mean, he's
I can see
a part of the franchise.
Happiness. I can see the twinkle of happiness in your eye.
Hey, Heinz, I don't know if you were in the GUA chat when we saw this today. Chris was actually got to it before I did. Power Rangers got some news today, and so I'm very excited to talk about it with Jake next week in regards to Power Rangers and their cinematic universe and shows. So really looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
Now, of course, every Monday night, just like we are right now, DC Alliance is live on the Geekverse YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel, press the bell for notifications, and make sure the setting is on all so you know exactly when we are going live. Now, the feed for DCA actually comes out on Tuesdays, and then on Wednesdays, Superhero Discussions, where me and Heinz have recently been talking about Young Justice. Really excellent show there. This past episode was so good. We had a really good discussion about it. A little bit longer than we thought it was going to be, but still well worth it. Something that took a really big part of comics and DC universe and spun it on its head in a very good way, a very emotional and impactful way. So go check that out as well. On Wednesday nights, me and Katie are live on Geekverse YouTube channel talking Star Wars Alliance. We've been getting a little bit of news here and there, not on Disney Plus, but we'll still do what we can with anything that we get. This week we are going to be reviewing Star Wars Adventures with the High Republic stuff, and then we'll save the announcement for later. But somebody from the GUA will be joining us for the first week of December. We will be reviewing Revenge of the Sith. So that announcement will be coming up later. The feed for that, of course, drops on Thursdays. Thursday nights is Marvel Alliance. They actually aren't going to be going live this week because it is American Thanksgiving. They will be reviewing the first episode of Hawkeye, which I have actually
been. The first one? I thought they were going to do the first three.
Oh, it is the first three.
Two.
Is it the first two?
I think it's
I can't remember how these are going to be dropping.
I know they're dropping differently than okay.
Yeah. So they're going to be reviewing the first two episodes. I have been avoiding spoilers like crazy today. I am too lazy to add any more muting words onto my feed. And so I'm just like, let's see how far we can get. So that, of course, is going to be dropping. The feed is going to be dropping on Friday. And then, of course, this is a bye week for Walk the Multiverse, but Walk the Multiverse is on Saturdays.
Walk through the multiverse.
I'm doing the ads so that way people can search it on Twitter.
I realized when I made
you got a cop out for all your every mistake is
it's
marvelous.
Not a cop out.
Marvelous.
It is great marketing. That's what it is. That's what it is. Either way, this is an ad-supported network, of course, guys. You will, of course, be hearing ads in this episode. So if you would like to not listen to ads, you can always support us on Patreon. $1 tier, of course, just says thank you. $5 is what gives you that exclusive content and early access to any and all of our shows. Recently, of course, we did the Last Ronin issue number 4. Really hoping that 5 sticks the landing. We each had our small little qualms about that 4th issue, but we're still very positive on the entire series overall, which is funny that all 3 of us were a part of that. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Oh, and also just, of course, like always, DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance all have their separate feeds. So if you would like to listen to those separately, you can, or you can always stay with us here at the GUA and listen to everything that we drop. Now, that was a lot. Let's go ahead.
I feel like every single month we get the ads get a little longer.
Everything, the entire intro, just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how Chris is able to just like type everything up, because I'll be honest with you, whenever I do the editing for Ranger Alliance and Star Wars Alliance, I actually have like a typed up thing to put into our show notes for people to like look at while they are listening. Chris, I know, has like a whole intro. He is very
Chris the
organized, and
robot.
he just types everything down and everything. I can't do that for DCA. I feel like it's just way too much all the time. Um, but either way, let's go ahead and jump into our very first topic of the day. We kind of already knew this. We decided not to really talk about it. But now, of course, I think it is official that the Dead Boy detectives are actually getting new actors to play their respective roles, which I think is a little bit of a disappointment. What do you guys think?
See, I'm of two minds with this, Clay, personally, because I did enjoy them on the episode of Doom Patrol, but I've seen it work before with the Chief because he was not Timothy Dalton at first. He was terrible
Hmm.
in the Titans episode in the first season, comparative to what he was. He was much more of a monster, like much more of a monster than what he was in the show afterwards when Dalton was cast. So maybe it could be positive, but I did enjoy all three of the actors. So, but that's not to say I won't enjoy the new people that have been cast either. But I'm going to check this out. I'm like, it's not a high on Travis's radar show, but Doom Patrol was not a high on Travis's radar show, and I love Doom Patrol. So, yeah, I I sucks for the young actors that lost the parts, but I guess congratulations for the new ones that snagged them.
Yeah, it says here real quick, George Rextrew, Jaden Reverie, who was in The Lodge, and Cassius Nelson, who is in The Last Night in Soho and Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, will star in the three lead roles. It looks like Rextrew. I'm not entirely sure if I'm reading that correctly or pronouncing that correctly, but this will be his debut as an actor.
Oh.
Apparently, he is of the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, and Dead Boy Detectives would mark his on-screen debut. So we'll see how it goes. Sometimes people are, great on their debut, and sometimes they're not so great. But the only real way you can, go up from there is to of course, keep continuing on. But I am a bit disappointed with this because of such the great performance that they had in the two episodes that they were a part of in Doom
One.
Patrol.
They were only in one, right?
Yeah, just
I
one.
thought it was a continued
Nope.
episode.
Nope.
Really?
Start to finish.
Oh, okay. So in their one episode, I really did enjoy um all three of them. Now, it did look like they said that the night nurse will be reprising her role in this series, and it is going to be played by the same actress, Ruth. I can't remember her last name. She was in Supernatural. She played the witch in Supernatural. I'm gonna be. That's gonna bother me all
I can
day.
see her face, but
Yeah, I mean, gorgeous. Anyway, but Joe, what about you? How do you feel about
I'm
this?
similar thoughts to you guys. It sucks that they're not getting the opportunity to continue these roles in a new series, but that's I'm fine with it because it's probably going to HBO Max and just WB itself. We already know does not know what a multiverse is, so they're going to say this is a different universe, and so if they have different actors, cool, fine, great, whatever. My only concern is if they have Chief's daughter there and that's their connecting force to Doom Patrol, then it's gonna get a little wonky. Outside of that, fine. Like I'm okay. I don't like that they're changing actors and actresses, but whatever. It's a whole new series. They're starting from scratch. I'll watch the first couple and judge it from that that point.
Now,
but I did like them. I'm right there with you, Clay. I like their performance in that one episode of Doom Patrol.
Same.
So
I was saying after we reviewed that episode, I'm looking forward to them having their own
continue
series.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but also Clay, one other thing, Joe was talking about linking Doom Patrol. There is no link between Doom Patrol and Titans after their one backdoor pilot. We haven't heard anything about either.
Exactly.
So
True. Yes.
they may just go off on their own as well and just like keep.
And that's
up
what I
their
said.
own.
If Chief's daughter doesn't show up,
Yeah.
fine. You know,
Yeah.
I think that
don't
might be
worry
the
about
way
it.
to go. Actually,
yeah. And just before anybody decides to like jump on us and complain and everything else, yes, we understand that this new cast is the more diverse cast, and that's we are not knocking on that at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
We just really enjoyed the actual episode that these people were, or these characters were introduced in, and we assumed that they were going to be going into that show.
Mhm.
Which is the whole selling point, I feel like, when you're like, oh yeah, you like these characters? Spin-off,
Here you go.
cool. And then like to completely scrap everything and add new people, it does kind of like, we'll see, you know, kind of ordeal. But speaking about dead people, Dead Man is looking to be in the works at HBO Max. It does not surprise me. Dead Man has been a project that has been in the works for quite some time. I believe all the way back into like 2011, maybe even a little bit further than that. But the big thing about that is that the guys over that worked on Supernatural were actually planning on creating that never really made it into production or even pre-production or anything like that. They were kind of just working around the idea.
Clay, it was similar to when Smallville was going, and they gave the guys running Smallville, a chance with Aquaman.
Yep.
They got more further with Aquaman. They got a pilot, but it didn't get any further.
Yeah.
But it was the same kind of thing. They're like, you have a successful show. We kind of wouldn't mind you guys trying something else in this.
And
world.
around that time, there was a lot of rumors of like a Wonder Woman show called The
Mhm.
Amazons, and that was supposed to be kind of like the Smallville equivalent with Diana and everything else. I was really bummed out that the Dead Man series never really got its footing, because for me personally, I got introduced to Dead Man in the DC Universe Presents part of New 52. They worked around with the new origin and everything. That was a really fun read for me. Really made me love the character of Dead Man. Now, I never knew him as a joking person. I know that's really before the New 52, and then they started to evolve into that character a little bit later in the New 52 and even in the animated movies. I don't know if I necessarily want a, comedic route to this, but it does look like this is something that is going to be pushed onto HBO Max, probably because, of course, we all know, hopefully still, we don't have any word on it, even at Fandom this year. But the Justice League Dark series is supposed to be in the works over at HBO Max as well, with Zatanna being worked on as well.
Mhm.
So a lot of the magical realm of DC Comics working into there. Heinz, what do you feel about this?
I'm more excited now because I remember the rumors of a Dead Man show, and now thinking about it, landing on the CW probably wouldn't have been the best bit for it. They may have changed some very integral things. Clay, I think you're got a lot better chance of getting a more serious Dead Man in from HBO Max than you do if it was on CW. So I'll check out this show like any DC show, but this is lower than Dead Boys, so Dead Boy Detectives. So I I with all DC projects as well, gotta hold your breath until we actually see this come to light. Like, this gotta make it through. This has been trying to get made since 2011. So, although
Until you see Dead Man in the Dead Boy Detective show,
Yeah.
Another
Backdoor,
Spin-off.
backdoor pilot of a backdoor pilot off of backdoor pilot. You know,
Isn't that how Legends came to be? So, like,
I mean, technically yes. But Joe, what about you? How do you feel about a Dead Man series on HBO Max?
I'm fine with it. I've known Deadman for some time, and I know starting out he definitely was serious, and over time he started to get the jokey, jovial actions. And it's not that he didn't care; it was more of a, well, who am I going to possess today? So he just was living out his life, jumping from body to body and having fun until he needed to get down and actually like do something serious. So I think if they do, if they do, again, we don't know if it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
A show on HBO Max, they'll start with serious, and then if they get like a couple seasons, then they'll start doing the jokes. Actually, they probably start doing the jokes toward the end of the first season. But I'm fine with it. I like Dead Man enough. He has a lot of similarities background wise to one of my favorite superheroes, Nightwing. So yeah, that's actually, I think, the first place I was introduced to him was a couple of Nightwing comics back in the day.
Yeah,
So,
they play off of the whole idea that they know, of course, the circus life and
well, they
Haley's
both were in
circus.
the Haley Circus. That's why.
Exactly. And for me, like I said, this show was originally supposed to be helmed by guys from the who created Supernatural, and then they're like, oh well, that's why it was going to be on CW. Guys, just a reminder, The Boys is created by the guys from Supernatural, so it could be a complete 180 from what you assume it's going to be. But also in regards to the serious or the jokiness, I think that The Boys is something that's very much in the middle of it. Or
Yeah.
you can go the entire route
Plays both sides.
of Doom Patrol and get all wacky and goofy and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, we're going to go ahead and take our first ad break, possibly even only ad break, depending on how far this conversation goes.
Yeah, I said
But
that twice on Walk Through the Multiverse. So, yeah.
Joe, we just like to talk. I'm sorry.
We do
It's
like to
just-
talk.
It's something that just always happens with when we are both on podcasts together. But we're going to go ahead and take a ad break, and then we will talk about The Flash. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And we are back. So, The Flash, Armageddon, Part 1. Joe, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
When was the last time you watched The Flash?
What season is this? 8.
Is it
Yeah.
8? Okay.
So I watched season 6 about a month before season 7 started,
Okay.
and I did not watch season 7.
Okay. So it's only one season technically that you missed before this one.
Yes, but I definitely, watching this first episode, there were some questions that came up that I'm like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here?
Joe,
And
I
we'll get-
watched,
I'll
I
bring them
watched
up
some
here.
of season 7, and I had those questions as well. So
All right. So I'm gonna ask, I guess, Hines the questions because he
Okay.
has been completely caught up with this show for the most part, I believe.
for the
He
most
literally
part.
just said he
Who-
don't watch.
who-
Okay.
Who was the villain of season 5?
season 5, season 4 was the Thinker.
I know that one for
Before the
sure that
Thinkers?
I've seen.
Season,
Yeah.
season
I've seen-
Oh,
Was season
Oh, so
six
5 was
season
5
6
was with his daughter, right?
Season
Yeah.
5 was the daughter. Okay,
Yeah.
that was the last season
Oh
that I
no,
watched.
Cicada
Yeah.
1 and Cicada 2.
Yeah, that was the last season that I have seen. So I have not seen
Huh.
season 6. I have not seen season 7. The only thing with the Flash that I have seen is the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and then all the memes on Twitter. That's the only thing that I have seen as far as the Flash goes. Oh boy, it has been a wild ride already, and I've only seen episode 1
Yeah.
of this season.
Well,
Well, you
even
need to level
myself,
up, Clay. You need to level up.
after Arrow ended, I kind of checked out from the Flash.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and level up with an alcoholic beverage real quick. I'm sorry,
call.
guys.
going
No,
back
so
and forth.
I don't blame you there. Like Arrow ended on a really good season. And then we had Crisis, and it definitely felt like, all right, this is ending. We don't need to continue because what are they going to go from there? And then they continued, and I'm like, all right, okay. Flash with the whole Mirror Master thing. That's what it was. Season 6 was Mirror Master.
Oh, I see. I kept on hearing everybody talk
50-50.
about it, and then
Yeah.
like when I heard that, like, oh shoot, Iris was, I almost forgot main character's names. Jesus,
You're not missing much.
you know, when I kept hearing that Iris was like stuck in the Mirrorverse or whatever they're calling it for like majority of the season, and they were all being duped by a Mirror Master copy of Iris, I was just like, I'm sorry, guys. You have been superheroes for years now, and you can't even. The Flash doesn't even know who his own wife is.
He
Like,
kind of, I remember him kind of being in the Jags about that for a few episodes, being
Yeah,
like,
I think he
how,
started picking it up.
how did I not know about that? And there are times, like with the Skrulls, with Marvel, there are times where it takes a while before you realize. He was the first one to realize it, and no one else would believe him in his defense. But I don't know. Like I said, I checked back into the show and watched the season finale where Flash and Reverse Flash were fighting Godspeed with lightsaber flash lightning things, and
Yeah.
okay,
I
was that because I know probably what they were trying to do, so I'm going to ask you directly. Was that because they did it in the comic book of Flash Rebirth with Joshua Williamson? Was that the lightning rod, like specifically to like hurt speedsters?
I don't think so. No, it's just like lightning they generate it.
Oh, they couldn't even they couldn't have even taken something from the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so I checked in for stuff like that, but it's not all bad here, folks. That's one thing. I did enjoy. Well, before we go right into it, we'll just top it with like off the top or didn't like, I guess. But some of the things I did like before we get into some of the things I didn't like. But some things I did like, I really enjoyed Brandon Routh, Ray Palmer as the Atom. Especially when he was in the Atom suit, using it and fighting it. Because more specifically, they put him back to where he was basically before he went into the Legends, having no purpose, questioning himself, not knowing, like completely in one camp instead of before he cut off being scientist. He was going to focus on Atom, wanted to be a legend superhero. Then he realized, yeah, I need balanced life going with Nora. And then when you get there, he's never going to be the Atom again. I don't do science because I gets addicted. So go Clay.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. I love Brandon Routh. I loved him as Superman. He was in a really shitty movie, unfortunately, but I loved him as Superman, and he even got to redeem himself, of course, in Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Yep.
I did not like his whole thing in this episode.
Well, that was
because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because of the whole thing of like, yeah, they threw in some continuity of like, oh, this is supposed to be after he's left the Legends. Now, I'm sorry, we all know due to the bad breakup of Brandon Routh and the CW and Legends that it wasn't mutual. So why would you bring back the character?
Which I was definitely surprised he came back. He even showed back up for this episode.
Exactly.
Which is why I wanted to watch it.
He came back for Legends as well. He came back for the 100th episode of Legends. So
I see. I
it's
didn't
not.
think he did.
I don't think Clay. I don't think it's as bad as you think, because look at, for example, Henry Cavill with Superman. He's still. You think he's like?
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like,
for Superman, and there's actually an article came out last week saying Brandon Routh has been exploring the possibility of getting a Kingdom
which
Come
I would love.
Yeah,
so
which I would love that as well. But what I'm talking about is because of the exact nature of him leaving the show, and then like technically reopening old wounds for a storyline here in the show. Like I personally didn't like that. If they could have brought him into this episode and kind of just like acted like, okay, Legends was a whole thing, but don't even bring it up. Use him for the episode that you're in. Use
See,
him
that'd be
for
hard to
the
do without bringing it up.
You
Because
got
he
to
was
bring
Legends
up
for so
Legends.
hard,
He was
so
on it for
long.
5 seasons. That's it.
Yeah.
That was his show. He was one of the main people. You can't like the first
He was one of
thing
the
some
originals.
audience people are going to want to know are like, are you still keeping in contact with the Legends? Which
Yeah.
makes perfect sense why Barry would ask that. It's just weird because he went to the Legends because no one would remember him. When he found out no one would remember him for like in time, when in Rip's time, he wanted to go and be memorable. So he learns eventually to like, I'll be happy with Nora.
Hmm.
But he got a new problem where he doesn't want to have anything to do with the science or the atom because he's afraid he might go all in with that. And I just don't understand because like it's not as much the problem, like it's the problem of he found balance and he leaves Legends, and now he doesn't have balance again pretty quickly. So it's just I I wish they would have written that little bit better, but like I said, the parts with him teaming up with Barry fighting, or even him conversing with Iris and Barry, those are great parts for me because he's still great as that character. Because
So
he doesn't have that much of a problem with that. Basically, only with Chester, really.
I was about ready to bring up the whole Chester thing. What is that the part that you didn't like? Because I thought that was a bit annoying. Chester, who I remember from season 5 and 6,
Yeah,
going through this arc of like getting accepted and learning about Team
Chester
Flash.
was in season 5.
Or I don't remember which one he was in.
think
Just whenever he
season 6.
joined.
I think season 6.
Oh, it was just season
Okay.
6. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh, I was like, holy crap, I forgot all about that
Might have
character
been-
then.
He might have been a meta for one episode in season 5. He was
maybe
a meta.
I
in
just
an
know he got
episode.
brought back, and maybe it was the beginning of like season 6.
I
and
think it
brought
was the
back toward
beginning of
end.
season 5 where he was like all like in stasis or whatever
Yeah.
with the glowing eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the
Okay,
only time you
so-
see him. Yeah.
Either way, he gets brought onto the team to be the new Cisco, and he's doing his thing. And then you see him basically fanboying over Ray and trying to get Ray to start enjoying the science. And then when Ray kind of pushes back from that, he like shuts himself off, not only from Ray, but basically from everybody. I thought that was kind of like, you already had your arc of getting accepted. Why are you going through this again? So I just didn't like that part with Ray and Chester.
But
But
that kind of makes sense too, because Chester's a little recycled. He's like, I enjoy some of the stuff with him, but when he is, we're getting a rerun of when Cisco met these heroes, and Cisco saw Flash team up with Adam for the first time in season 1, and he's like, superhero team up and all this stuff. And we heard this before. That's one thing I don't like for Chester. I wish that he wasn't more shoehorned into basically being another Cisco.
do you think we're gonna get a lot of that these next 4 episodes then?
I don't know, because I don't know how much we're going to actually focus on him. I could see it like they basically invented this whole thing about Ray having this problem so that Chester would have a storyline. Really, in my opinion,
Yeah.
it doesn't do much for anything. But I did enjoy, like I was saying, the team up with the Flash that we'll talk about later. That stuff I did enjoy, and I like seeing him as the Atom. I didn't like the situation they put him in, but
Yeah.
just seeing him on the screen, like I said before we got to that situation when he just chatted with Iris and him showing up there interrupting, that's classic Ray.
Yeah, perfect Ray moment.
Yeah. So
And-
there was a lot there that I enjoyed about that.
And in regards to this review, guys, I am not currently watching this season. I don't see myself watching the rest of the season after Armageddon.
Same.
I am really just connected to these characters that are coming back, and want to see how. And usually, whenever there was a crossover, even if there was a show that I wasn't watching, I would go and watch that particular episode of crossover just to get the entire story. So I apologize if we're kind of skimming over any other characters that honestly I wasn't too invested in. Like
like Caitlin Frost, or yeah,
Oh my god.
and how Frost or Caitlin Snow, and how Frost is her own person, right?
she's
Like,
leveling up. Wait, did they split people?
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they did. They
Okay,
did.
because
But I
that- I
missed
was-
that. That was part of the stuff where I checked out on
I'm
Arrow.
assuming.
Wow.
Well, that was right there at the beginning.
Wow.
That was at the beginning. Her and Barry are talking at Jitters, saying he's asking how Frost is doing, and Caitlin's like, "Oh yeah, she's in Toronto or she's somewhere with some
I
guy."
completely
and I'm like,
I
what?
guess
What?
I didn't catch that at all whenever I was watching. So that's interesting.
I'm assuming that happens in season 7.
I
And that's
guess
why I'm like,
I guess
I'll go
that's
watch it eventually.
eventually they can just make her a villain then, like Killer Frost.
I don't think they
I
will.
don't think so, Clay. I think they
Because even in the comics,
Well-
they're trying to make her like an anti-hero or
unless
vigilante.
she's controlled by
Oh,
somebody.
yeah, true,
That's
true.
the only
You're right,
way
Joe.
because they went out of their way to redeem her and make her good.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
Stop
all
on
right.
the Killer Frost.
But one more thing about Ray. One thing that I really did enjoy was the Superman rip of his shirt,
Yes.
when he went to go change into the Atom costume. Wasn't expecting it whatsoever, but as soon as I heard the pop of the buttons, I was like, "That's so cool." But let's go ahead and talk about the main reason why this crossover is even happening.
The Royal
Despero.
Flush Gang. Oh, sorry.
No, we'll get to the Royal Flush Gang.
Joe, how
You know
many
what?
levels? How many levels?
Wait,
did the Royal
let's
Flush
jump.
Band
Let's
go up?
jump to the Royal Flush Gang. So that's another thing, guys. We always joke around about the CW writing and the acting and the overall portrayal of these shows and the characters in them. We joked around about it in the GOA chat. I think most of us were keeping count. But
I was
how
at
many
work while I was
times?
watching.
How many times did the word or the phrase "level up" come up in this show?
I believe Brent said like 5 times.
I didn't count the times that leveling up was down there, but I did count in the 4 minutes
All of
that
the
the Royal
puns.
Flush Gang was on the screen. We had the bank heist where it was a minute that we saw them on the screen, and we had 6 puns about
6.
gambling or
About
Card
cards.
playing.
Yeah,
About cards. Yeah.
And then we had the flash fight with them, which was a 4-minute scene, and
Okay.
we had 10 gambling or card puns from them and 1 from the Flash to end it off.
Yes. Now, guys, please correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought Tim Rooney wrote that page of the script. Honestly, he was like, "How many puns can I fit into this 5 minutes of dialogue?"
Tim, we love you.
Yeah.
How many times has the Royal Flush Gang been in CW shows?
Is this the 3rd time? Okay.
3rd time.
I was-
Okay, well, wait. And how many times have they had powers?
This is the first time
This is the first time.
Oh.
because of Crisis.
The very first time they showed was actually the very first season of Arrow, in a bank heist.
They were the
uh,
Restons. Derek
yeah.
Reston. He used to work at the plant, and he got.
And I was like, they didn't have powers there.
Was it the
This-
same people?
No. And,
Okay.
then they were.
and
We didn't
technically,
see them. We didn't see them in their second appearance in the Flash. They were basically bike robbers, and they had the little emblem of the Royal
Yeah.
Flush. They were kind of like
Okay.
an Easter egg in the in the
Yes.
second appearance.
And
Gotcha.
and technically, Joe, you are right. They are different people, and technically, in
Well, yes, but I know in the
comics-
last.
Well, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
in the comics, they tend to keep at least like 1 or 2 same members, and then recruit new members,
Exactly.
and then they just kind of keeps changing over.
So you can like headcanon in the CW universe that's like, oh, well, they recycle the name, but this time they have actual like powers.
Yeah.
In this reiteration of the team.
Why are you doing so much work to headcanon it? Crisis.
Yes, Crisis could definitely
Crisis.
just.
Crisis
Yes,
had a-
Crisis can change a whole lot of things. Yes, you are
Crisis.
correct. But that was something that I immediately thought of whenever I saw them. I was like, they didn't have powers before. Don't know how this happened.
Crisis.
Well, that was back in like episode 10 of Arrow when he was shooting just regular arrows. He wouldn't have done much against.
You're right.
Or getting
Crisis changed it
superpowers.
all.
Exactly. So what did you guys think about the Royal Flush? I mean, clearly
Annoying.
Hines was just like, I'm done with the card puns by like the
Yes.
first scene.
That's the only thing I didn't like because I really enjoyed their powers. I was hoping it gives me faith. It gives me hope that we'll see them one day actually like flying around on cards. Like we
Yeah.
got sometimes in comics and animation that I've seen. But I did enjoy the fact that they actually had powers this time, Clay. We didn't get enough of them, although I don't know how many more. I was literally the Power Rangers gif of the two
Well,
of Red and Green Ranger, like in pain. That's what I was like as a 10th pun, and Flash was there. I was like, oh, good, Flash is talking now, and he slipped in a pun in the scene. I'm like, oh, come on, Flash.
Well, no, I legit, as soon as I saw them having powers, I thought they were gonna go the animated series route, and I thought they were androids. And I was like,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay, this is kind of cool. But they never acknowledged anything, and technically, I guess you could still say that they might be, but they didn't really show anything about that.
well,
So,
they're the ones that were in the newspaper back when he was in a coma of the first metahumans to actually attack Central City
Oh.
oh,
and
okay,
steal
okay,
because that was. But I'm not sure because the listeners, I haven't went back and checked or anything from the first season because there is a newspaper just like that, and I don't know if they had powers then or not,
yeah,
or even if they were featured. So I'm curious if that. I think that was an actual change of Crisis that they had
okay,
powers
cool,
and they were. So that I think that is an actual thing.
very interesting. Now, the whole reason why this crossover is happening, Armageddon, is due to the alien of Despero.
Mhm.
There was evidence on this show that Hines was like, "Oh man, like we're gonna hopefully we'll get that green ring and there'll be a construct of an arrow going straight into that third
Nope,
eye."
that's
And
not what I said. That's not what I said. I said he was going to punch him with his ring and make the Green Lantern symbol in his eye.
either or, same thing. I'm sorry. You put way too much hope into these things. As soon as I saw who Despero was in like the still photos, the HD photos that CW released and everything else, I'm just like, Heinz is going to be so disappointed in this crossover. Heinz is like, there's still 4 more episodes. You
I'm not
never
gonna be-
know.
I'm not going to be disappointed because I don't foresee myself continuing with the Flash. So I've learned from my disappointments, Clay. When you have like I got 30 seconds of dialogue between my two favorite characters before one of them died. Um, anyway, in the big crossover where that was the thing. If you watch Fans, they had a great little. Brent had a thing there about expectations becoming
Yeah.
what you think, or speculation becoming expectation.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of that with the Crisis, and I've learned since that to not do that with this. But Despero, I gotta say though, I'm not gonna hate on him too much in the alien form.
Mhm.
For CW, it's not too bad. Like it's not that bad of a alien, especially when you go back and look at others, the Dominators even. But go back and look, it's not a bad. And you got to
Oh
do
yeah, the Dominators.
you got to do him in live action fighting, and I actually don't think it's that bad. I'm interested to see why he transforms into a human. Like, will we get explanation of that at some point? Does he have to do that to travel through time? I don't know. I'm curious, or was he just doing that because he was on Earth? And why was he on Earth to begin with? Normally, when Despero comes to a planet, comes there to take over. He's not this white knight. So
Well,
I
I mean,
have
that's not
questions
how
about
it.
him.
That was not how Despero was in the beginning. In the beginning,
No.
he lived. He was on Earth and worked with Justice League and was part of the team.
Yeah.
And he even mentions there, I think at one point that he doesn't want his world to die, referring to Earth, meaning he lives here in 2033 or
30.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he lives on Earth, so this is his planet. This is his home. So my guess would be similar to like Martian Manhunter. He reverts to a human form to just mingle and be, one with the people. Because if
And to save on CGI
Because
budget.
I haven't
and that
read
too.
I haven't read anything, Joe, with him being part of.
Oh, it's all like golden age. It's
Yeah.
I think
See, that's
once
why
it came about the
I've only
silver to
seen
modern,
him
he
as a
became a
villain.
villain. Yeah.
I've only seen him as a villain with Green Lantern and Assad and animation. Read a little bit in comics, but I haven't like had much big load of experience with Despero. I've only seen him as a villain, so that
Yeah.
surprised me when you said that. So that could make sense now. Sorry, that was
Actually, gonna
You
break
good?
the fourth wall in regards to the talk about Despero, Joe. I think in your comic book rundown, you should be kind of close to some Despero stuff
Ooh.
in Justice League. In
No.
because no,
Because DC wise, we're still sticking around. It's just after Crisis,
oh okay,
and
okay,
so
yeah,
we're
yeah,
still
yeah.
just sticking to like those earlier, getting everybody back into the modern age. So
Okay. Getting really confused. I thought y'all were
you're
going
confused. I'm
so.
confused.
I thought y'all were going side by side because I know y'all were talking
We
Daredevil
tried,
and Iron
but-
Man now, and small little plug for Joe's comic book rundowns. Go check it out.
Heck yeah.
But I have a little bit of I would say, hot take, but I don't think it is a hot take. Despero is causing this entire hysteria of the Flash. Because I just recently watched a preview for episode 2, and it's basically stressing out Barry on like, oh no, I become the villain in
So okay,
so many years.
about that, I posted in the chat when he was Savitar or whatever.
Yeah,
He was all like, I could never be a villain, dude. You were a villain like 3 seasons ago.
yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like come on.
But also, just like I can see it now, like it looks like the hysteria of him stressing out over this is going to cause him to hiccup, which will probably cause a little ripple, God damn it, Barry, kind of situation, just like every other season.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could have just like not come into the past and everything would be fine. To be honest, like I understand that's not how time travel works in the sense of how Despero's like timeline is.
You mean
but-
Despero not coming back here and he'd be fine?
Yeah,
Just
But-
let Flash be?
Nah,
But that's what he essentially what you're saying is the same.
that's what he's saying.
but I think there's a monkey's paw to it, though. I think that Despero is saying Flash is the cause of everything in 2033 or whatever, but I don't think it is. Like, I think we're going to learn something in
Well, Despero could even be controlling Flash. Who knows?
It's a possibility.
That could be,
Or there could be
thing.
somebody else, puppeteering him.
Yeah, he could be noble in his Clay's questioning, which is rightfully so.
Mhm.
Question his motives. Right now, I don't know. It's just it's a little confusing. But do you think he could be actually? Clay, take one more break before I got a question I want to ask you guys.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and take.
Told
I'm
you.
not going to say our last one. I'm not going to say our last one because, of course, Joe will jinx us. But we will go ahead and take one more ad break, and we will be right back. And we are back. So, what is your question, sir?
Do we think the Flash becomes Red Death?
Not in this season.
No.
No,
No.
that's not the future. What he becomes, like that's what's causing him to destroy everybody.
Nah.
I think. I mean, again, reiterations and interpretations can go into anything that these writers want to, and if they want to take a story that is regarding Batman and completely spin it on its head to do something else with it, I guess they could technically, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
Not exactly.
I don't
what I mean?
think-
Like a version of that. Like a
Sure, but I don't think they
evil,
could
sure.
do it right. I don't think they.
I think
whatever they
that
do would just be bad.
I think anything death metal, you would have to spin
He does.
like the entire story,
Yeah.
like to make it make sense.
Yeah.
That literally does not make sense without the story of Batman and metal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if this was a universe that was a little bit bigger and would like to take the undertaking of
Oh, they're not
metal
doing it on
and
CW. I was just
oh
wondering
no
how we could.
I don't ever see that coming out in live action movies either. So
I'm just wondering how we can justify
Totally
like
do
what's
that.
making him do this. Like, what is he just mind control, or is he actually like a pure villain? That's what I was wondering. Like, does he have like is he just killing people, but they're running around like crazy? So
Well, and it doesn't say that he's killing people; it just say he's destroying things. I mean, Despero. It's all we're all going by Despero's
description
mindset,
of
Yeah.
what
his point of view,
the future.
saying
Yeah,
the Flash is destroying the world and he's ruining the future. So maybe he's actually not. Maybe he's destroying something to go save something else, and Despero doesn't see that. Probably not. It's probably going to be a villainous speedster. I mean, maybe Reverse Flash comes back and he takes over Flash's body, or maybe Lex Luthor comes in and takes over Flash's body. It's happened before.
I have no idea who this is. Oh man, that would be so great.
That'd be kinda cool.
If
John
John
Cryer?
Cryer comes in and switches bodies with Grant Gustin. Oh, that would be so good.
But no, they've done that too many times. No, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be the villain. But whatever's going on, it's Despero definitely has a hand in it.
and that goes to one other question. Do you think he's going the way we're going to see Mia Queen is? Do you think he's going to travel into that time to see what in hell is going on?
Oh,
Because she's in the future right now.
That's
I'm
right,
pretty sure
she's
she's
in-
close to that
What-
actual
what
year.
she'd be
year?
after, I believe.
She's 20. She
I thought she was like in 2040 or 2050.
I see. I
no,
don't
Pause
remember.
for a
Star
dramatic
City
pause.
2030 something. wasn't it?
Even then, like that just proves that if she is around, that well, it's a future, so futures can change. They're always in flux. Futures suck. Time travel. I love time travel storylines, like
and hate
and hate them at the same time because there's always a problem.
It is a crux of a storytelling, unfortunately, because the way out to any of these points of storytelling can just be time travel.
2040.
2040.
See,
Okay.
2040. So she's too
about
far
10
in the
years
future.
farther. Yeah.
So
Oh
maybe
my no, but she could be like part of a last resistance against whatever he's become.
Flash.
So maybe she goes to like that's what I mean. There got to be reason why she get like there's no watcher or anything like that or no
maybe well, I think that kind of in a way Despero is the watcher in the sense. Maybe he will even go as far as to say, hey, let's see how far your destruction has gone and go into 2040 and bring me a queen.
or bring him to 2040, kind of like a Christmas Carol type thing. You think we could?
I mean, technically, these episodes are going to be in December. So
Who's next or this coming week's episode?
this upcoming week, they haven't
They haven't
They had the
shown any
previews,
heroes.
they've showed the previews, but they haven't showed the hero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then never mind.
Which I think
See, I thought
they're
they did.
doing on purpose.
Then
And we
that's
don't
fine.
know if it's just one appearance. We don't know if like I assume from the things we get here of the other people starring that we'll get Brandon Routh back somehow handing a mantle off to
Ray
um,
or Ryan.
Ryan Choi. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because he's supposed to be in this, or who knows, he might not at all. He might not be handed this at all. I don't know what the CW. I can't assume anything.
Yeah. You shouldn't anyway.
No, never
Now,
assume.
I'll admit when they announced that this crossover was happening and they named it Armageddon, my first thought, and I don't know if either one of you know this storyline.
2001.
Yep. That was my
Yep.
first thought. And I'm like, ooh,
Mhm.
they're gonna have the Monarch. This could be great.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So
Joe, don't do this. They said Flashpoint. We've brushed over Flashpoint.
I know. That was
Oh,
one
and
whole
they also
episode,
had,
and they just ruined it in one episode.
and
But
they
like
had
this is the
Elite-
crossover,
they had the
and
Elite for Supergirl, and everyone thought that was going to be a big thing. And it was one episode. It was done. Didn't need it. You didn't need any
which one?
backstory really. The
Oh
Elite
yeah, that one. Yeah.
for Supergirl.
No,
Well,
that was
I-
my first initial thought, and I'm like, okay, I'm not I'm a little
I
disappointed,
haven't
but that's on my
read
own fault.
Armageddon in
Dude.
years.
That's one of my favorite storylines.
It's such a good story too. I might just read it just to read it, not to like just say expectations.
Are you
for
gonna
the
read
show.
all of the annuals? Because I don't think they're
No.
all on. What do you mean
N-
no? You gotta read at least Hawk and Dove.
If there's any annual, that I'm reading, it's the one with I can picture the cover in my head, where Batman is like trying to take down Superman.
That
Uh,
was
it's like the
I
battle
think it was
between Batman,
no, that wasn't
Superman,
Detective. That
Robin.
was yep.
Yeah,
It was
Batman and
Superman.
Robin.
I think it was Superman one.
Yeah,
I'm steering this ship
Sorry,
back towards the
I was talking about
Flash here.
Armageddon.
hey, we're talking about Armageddon.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there are small little tidbits, because I mean CW has done it before.
They have.
Sometimes just the
When-
name, but
and that
sometimes
one
they
deals
throw
with-
some
it deals with
small
time travel.
Easter eggs, yeah, they
Yeah,
give us
yeah.
Easter eggs.
And this is Armageddon is a time travel story.
And that one deals with time travel. It's Wave Rider comes. He's trying to find out who Monarch is, and he goes to the past to try and stop him in the future. So this is basically Despero coming into the past, trying to stop Flash, or who he thinks is the Flash. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he thinks this is the Flash, and it could be somebody in the Flash's body. Because what does he always say? What does Barry Allen always say? I'm the fastest man alive until somebody comes in and takes that title from me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe
that's
that's
pretty spot on.
But overall, I mean, it was a CW episode.
The one other thing we got to talk about before we stop is the actual fight scene with the Flash and Adam versus Death.
That was cool. Okay.
Because that was actually kind of cool, especially when Ray. I don't think he's done this before to anybody else.
He shrank him and
Shrank
the Flash.
Barry and himself, and
then Barry was like,
him
"Oh, now I know how Diggle feels."
That was great.
like even that was
It's a callback. You know, it's something that we've all enjoyed as far as these characters interacting, calling back to something that usually made me laugh every single time that Diggle got like nauseous or whatever. With
it was cool too, just him going in, fist bumping the Flash, and just the little banter back and forth. That was good for me, and the fighting, and actually Ray going into the belt. I did enjoy too the Flash doing like the speed mirage and it having nothing, like not doing nothing to Despero. And we established earlier in this episode that the Flash saved all those people on the train and got back to like he's more powerful than he's ever been
because he leveled up.
Because he leveled
we're going to try
up.
and say level up as much as the episode.
I'm trying.
And Despero flicks him like he's a gnat. So I'll be interested to see what Flash's game plan is, because he knows Despero's going to come back. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do in the second episode.
Well, he gave him ultimatum. He gave him that he's got 7 days to prove that he's not the villain.
That fight scene was great, but Joe's right. We're going to lead into the thing that everybody knows is his identity is only behind two now, Oliver and Kara, because both of them are out to the entire world that their identities. But Flash is pretty close. Like you must have like
it bothers me so much, and I understand this is a very big CW trope. Love wins all. Hey, you should have just asked me if I was a good guy, you know.
The one thing I'll say, Clay, for the backup actually doing that is he just got his butt whipped 8 ways to Sunday by Despero, and Despero just back to kill him. So there's not much else you can do. There's no way you're going to beat him. So I guess you're going to try and reason with him, which is something the Flash has done a lot. Sometimes in the first couple seasons it worked well, like it was written well and had heart and you believed it, and then other times it didn't work when we went further down the line. But the revealing thing don't mean anything to me anymore, because identities don't mean as much in this universe, in my opinion.
Well,
so
you could name on one hand the amount of people who don't know he's the Flash.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter anymore.
It's not like it used to be back in season 1 and 2. It actually meant something. Like his dad didn't know for the first 20 episodes. Then when his dad knew, you were like, "Oh, that's a good reaction." Sometimes people find out like you want it to heal, but when you get to a point where it's like this, taken off for the villain. But I'm headcanon it that he got his ass handed to him, and he knew there was no way to beat him. That's
so. Hold on, you're headcanon it. Well, just you got to do the right thing. Crisis.
There you go. Yeah, crisis.
Crisis.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right.
But overall, it was a CW episode.
It was fine.
It was good. I liked seeing Ray, just because Brandon Routh is he is such a good actor in the roles that he has been playing, especially as Ray, as the Atom. As far as expectations, the episodes that I am looking forward to the most, having Black Lightning and Mia for sure. Um, Grant Gustin is. I don't know if it was Grant Gustin in particular or if CW had asked him to kind of try to hype up the episode with Batwoman. But he's like, "Well, yeah, I like working with her." And you wouldn't really expect the team up that you would expect from these two. It's just like, yeah,
Good
you're
job, guy.
you're gonna be on screen together. Like that's what we're expecting.
I didn't see that, so I'm thankful
Wow.
that I missed that.
It's a very small article with very small quotes. But it legit just sounds like Grant's like, yeah, she's gonna be on the show. I like
They're
working with
doing a
her.
really good job, man, because I can't find anything about people who are supposed to be in this next episode, like for heroes. I don't know which one, and I don't know if it's just going to be exclusively one, or are they going to like keep coming with him,
Well,
or he?
I mean,
Are we done with the Atom now? Are we not going to see the Atom anymore, or are the heroes
so
going to
we've
stick
got 4
around?
episodes left. We've got at least 4 heroes, 5 if you count Ryan Choi. So it's almost a guarantee that somebody is going to double
This
up on the
was
episode.
still filmed, I believe, during COVID
was.
protocols, so I wouldn't expect too many people on screen at the exact same time.
That's fine.
But COVID protocols have loosened up when you're fully vaxxed. So, and any of those people crossing the border had to be fully vaxxed. So, and
But were
WB has
they
a policy.
filming during the
Yeah.
time of
Yeah,
vaccines? Okay.
yeah, they started filming that in the summer.
Okay.
So we've
That
had
makes sense.
vaccines, and they're going to get vaccines before just generic me. Just some speculation. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be just one individual. Do you think they'll go more the MCU style, kind of like in terms of Flash will go with one hero in episode, one hero in episode, one hero in episode, one hero in
So that's
episode,
what I was thinking.
and in the final episode bring them all together to help combat against whatever's
I
going on?
don't even think they'll do that. I think it'll just be one per episode. And then I think either Ray will come back for the final goodbye, giving away the mantle, or that even happens in a separate episode. Or, the crossover just ends. And it's just like, okay, this is another episode of The Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
'Cause
having too many big expectations.
Yeah, so they're hyping this, but not hyping it like they were Crisis.
Yeah.
So,
But you can't either.
well,
There's
no,
still,
it's Crisis is a whole separate monster.
like they actually got away with not having to do a crossover because of COVID. They got to let Crisis breathe for another year, essentially. But still, you got a few team ups before.
But that's the other thing. This isn't a true crossover. A true crossover.
It's more of
would
like
be
they termed it
show.
Joe. They termed it as an event.
Yes,
Yeah.
which don't know if they should have.
Although in like a comic event too. No, yeah, you're right. That's kind of just another way. It's like how they understand multiverse.
No, because I would even say Night of the Monstermen in Batman was still an event.
Yeah, but that was a crossover because that was Batman, Detective, and Nightwing.
Yes, but again,
that's why
they were. But like Nightwing's story had nothing to do with that event, and then it just shoved it into it. Same thing with these as well.
You could also go with Joker War, where it was just Batman, and then Detective, Batgirl, Nightwing, everything else was like, oh yeah, we're part of Joker War too.
And that's how they did it before.
Yeah,
that's how they did it before as well too. Like the episodes really didn't lead up to. I can remember the one that really grind my gears. Even though I did watch Supergirl, they said you have to watch Supergirl before the Dominators crossover.
Oh my god!
It was literally the final scene.
The last 2 seconds
was Flash and Cisco showing up, and then you get into the Flash, and literally 15, 20 minutes into the Flash, they show that scene again. Except you're seeing it from Flash coming through his point of view, and then you get the exact same scene you got.
Then you get the 3-part crossover. That was annoying.
And you're like, I didn't need to watch Supergirl. You told me I did, but I didn't. and you lied for ratings, and I forgave them. And can continue to watch.
That's when Supergirl was good.
Heinz, you are part of the problem.
No,
These-
I'm not anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not anymore.
no. This is what me and Joe always talk about in comics. Chris, as well, in our little comic book crew, we always talk about how the sales and how it goes. Everybody has a problem with so many Batman comics, but they can't stop buying them.
I'm
Yep,
not
I
buying
have got-
CW stuff.
What's that coffee mug anymore?
I'm not buying CW stuff.
Yeah, that is promoting
with the
I
arrow
was pointing at that and saying I have stopped watching and stopped supporting since, and this
Arrow
mug was
comic.
on clearance for 50% off. Come on, guys! Like what are we doing here? The music store was going out of business because no one buys physical media anymore. And I just strutted on in one day and bought.
I strongly disagree.
mug.
I got a shelf of DVDs that say otherwise, or Blu-rays that say otherwise.
Oh, I
man.
agree, Joe. But here in this small island, we can't have 6 music stores, especially in this one little town that's masquerading as a city.
That's fair.
Yeah, we can't afford. You can't have 6. It just we only have one theater, so it just doesn't work.
Oof. But anyway, guys, I think that's it for the show. We got a pretty big discussion in regards to a show that I didn't really think was going to take us very long. But of course, Joe is here with me. So,
so I'm making you talk longer. So
And I made you talk
expectations
about
are always crashed with him.
that. Wouldn't let us not talk about that action scene, that 2-minute action scene.
But of course, guests go first. Joe, where
Naturally.
can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at _actually_. You can find my shows, A Walk Through the Multiverse at Walk the Verse. And you can also find my other show, Comic Book Rundown, on Twitter at Comic Rundown and on Instagram at Comic Book Rundown.
Very, very nice. And Heinz, what about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about DC anytime. I also host superhero discussions. Myself and Clay have been talking about Young Justice. Also, Masters of the Universe Part 2 is dropping tomorrow. I would love to put out a double episode of superhero discussions on Wednesday, but I have an intermediate accounting midterm that is going to be crazy hard, and it's going to take up 2 of my days studying. I'm going to try and watch the show in the background while studying for some of it. I'll probably record that this weekend. Hopefully both the boys can join me here for that. I'm excited. I love the man babies crying about the first part. So I really enjoyed
the first part.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first part. I'm not a He-Man fan like it's my childhood or anything, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, look for that to come out soon, listeners.
Very nice. And of course, you can always find me at FanboyClay on Twitter. In the bio of my Twitter, you can find the link tree to all the shows that I host, that including Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion Podcast, Weird Science, DC, Marvel, and Manga, Ranger Alliance, which is dropping next Monday with Jake, and then of course Star Wars Alliance, which is actually going to be going live in technically one day from people listening to this later. We're going to be reviewing Star Wars Adventures Volume 1 and talking a little bit about Star Wars news. Heinz, why are you raising your hand?
Well, I have one final question before we go. How many times have you leveled up in podcasting compared to myself and Joe? Because you have that many podcasts.
You know what? We're going to go ahead and end the show now. See you guys later.
Later, everyone.